Good morning, everybody. This is month 2 on the New York Beauty blue and white quilt, and I've made a few changes. Firstly, we had an extra friend who wanted to join up, and I'm not going to say no to that. I want everybody to make one of these. They're so pretty. So what I did was I decided to change and make my daughter's wedding quilt as my example instead of the blue and white, because that'll save me a lot of time. I owe her a wedding quilt anyway. So that's why my samples are going to be a different color than yours. The other change that I made was right here. We had a couple of people, several people, who when they were cutting out their templates for their inner quarter circle, their outer quarter circle, and these bands in here, they cut out on the line like they're supposed to on their freezer paper, but then they cut their fabric on the line too. And I had a couple people in tears because their pieces didn't fit together. So what I did was I went to the grocery store and I got some poster board and I glued my template pieces down to the poster board, and I added the 1/4 inch, and then you only have to do that one time. So when you're going to trace around, you can trace with a friction pen, you can trace with just a pencil, you can trace with chalk if it's a dark fabric and you can't see it. So that way you only have to add the 1/4 inch one time, and then the rest of the time all you have to do is trace around here and you're good to go. The other thing I decided to do, thank you Phyllis for telling me this, was as we are going through on our book, it tells you what size each of your prints is. So the 4x4 print is going to be the red black print on this one. So for me, on my next block, that's this one. So I'm just going to write with a friction pen so it'll go away that this one is the red black. And then the next one is the aqua batik. Now, if you don't want to do this, you don't have one of these, that's fine. You can just put stickers, mailing labels, or whatever you decide you want to do. So that's the aqua. This one is going to be my blue. This one is going to be my mustard. And I've pre-measured each one of these. So this is my 16-inch piece, 2 1/4 by 16 inches. So that's the mustard hand dyed there. Just so I don't make a mistake and use the wrong fabric. This one is going to be my dark green. This one will be the red orange. This one will be my turquoise. And then this big piece right here is going to be what they're calling purple. Okay, so now they're all labeled. And I can go through and trace out each one of my templates. I like to use a mechanical pencil for this because it makes a nice thin line. Use whatever works for you. This is your cut line because I already added the 1/4 inch. Just make sure you're not allowing your template to move. And since it's a heavier poster board, it doesn't seem to want to move. There we go. And I can just cut out on those lines. Then my next arc is going to be pattern B, or pattern A, I'm sorry. Whoopsie. Okay, so pattern A is going to be the red batik, which is this one. So it's pretty easy to The other thing I did with this one was I starched fairly heavily all of my fabrics before I drew on them. It made it much easier to cut with scissors. So I sprayed the front, I sprayed the back, let it dry for a moment, and then I gave it a quick press. Okay, and then pattern B is going to be the Aqua Batik. That's this one. And then pattern I is the last one, and that one is listed as the dark green. I think that's turquoise, dark green. Okay, so all of those are finished. And then we're just going to go through and cut out our arcs exactly the way we did in month 1. You're going to cut out on the line. You're going to alternate your fabrics according to how you've labeled them. And then don't forget, you need to mark all of your points so that you can cut them out a 1/4 inch away from the edge and know where those points are. And then sewing them together is exactly the same as it was last week. You know, you can stop in the store anytime with questions. You can call me with a question. I'm always here to help. Good luck.